The forbidden gate at the edge of the solar system. Beyond the cold shadow of Neptune, something ancient slept. It was a ring of black metal, bigger than any planet's moon, floating in silence. No one knew who built it, no one knew when. But every starfaring race in the galaxy feared it. They called it the Forbidden Gate. They said it was a door that once opened to another universe, a universe that almost destroyed theirs. The Galactic Council had forbidden anyone to approach it, but humans, as always, were different. Dr. Alara Khan stood on the bridge of the Terran research ship Dauntless, staring at the massive ring through the wide glass. Her dark eyes reflected the faint silver light that pulsed from the gate's surface, like a heartbeat waiting to return. Beside her stood Lieutenant Reed. Young, loyal, and nervous, he whispered. The Council said this thing burned half the galaxy once. Alara smiled. Then we better make sure it doesn't do it again. For weeks they had been testing, scanning, decoding the strange symbols that moved along the ring. Every alien empire begged humanity to stop. The Council sent fleets to patrol nearby space, warning Earth not to cross the line. But the message from Terran High Command was clear. Curiosity is not a crime. To humanity, fear was just another puzzle to solve. Reed checked his console. "Ma'am, we are ready for activation." Alara took a breath, her voice calm but filled with something deeper, something almost holy. "Begin the sequence," she said. Across the hull of Dauntless, power conduits glowed blue, connecting the ship's reactor to the gate's dormant runes. Slowly, one by one, the symbols began to shine. The gate answered. A deep vibration rolled through space, a soundless wave that every ship could feel in its bones. Reed's hands trembled, energy rising fast. Gravitational pull increasing. Alara held the railing. "Don't stop." The gate rotated, slowly at first, then faster, its center filled with liquid light, swirling like a storm trapped in a mirror. The stars around them bent, their light curving toward the ring. And then silence, total perfect silence. Every sensor on the ship went white. Every alien watcher across the stars screamed warnings through their networks. "Humans have awakened the Forbidden Gate," the Council panicked. Their fleets turning toward Sol, but the humans didn't stop. They had come too far. They had waited too long. Alara's eyes widened as the light expanded outward, touching the Dauntless, wrapping it in gold and shadow. Something ancient whispered through the comms. Not words, but tones. It was like music made from thunder. Gentle and terrifying, Reed gasped. "Is it alive?" Alara whispered back. "It's speaking." The ship's translator flickered, trying to form meaning from the impossible. Then through static, a single sentence formed. "Welcome, children of Sol." Every crew member froze. Reed looked at his captain. "It knows us." Alara smiled faintly. "It should. Maybe it's been waiting." The Galactic Council received the data 30 minutes later. They saw the readings, the growing light. The human ship drifting closer to the gate one by one. Their leaders remembered old records, ancient wars, vanished gods, burning skies. They sent one last desperate message. "Close the gate, or we will close it for you." But humanity didn't listen, because to them the gate wasn't a weapon. It was an opportunity. It was proof that the universe still had secrets worth chasing. Alara spoke softly to the crew. "We are not invaders. We are explorers." Then she turned toward the window, her face bathed in golden light. "Prepare to step through," she ordered. The Dauntless moved forward, slow and steady, its engines humming against the void. The gate opened fully, revealing not darkness but a new kind of light, a deep, endless blue filled with stars that didn't belong to this universe. The ship crossed the threshold. Every reading went wild, space folded like paper, and then the gate sealed behind them. For a long moment there was nothing. Then the transmission arrived at Earth. A single message, Alara's voice calm and clear. "We opened the gate not to conquer, but to welcome what lies beyond." Her final words echoed across human space. Because someone has to remind the universe that fear is not our way. And with that, the line went dead. The galaxy held its breath. For the first time in 10,000 years, the Forbidden Gate was open again, and humanity had already stepped through. The song beyond the stars' light swallowed the Dauntless. Every screen turned white. Every sound vanished, and for a heartbeat, it felt like the ship was falling through endless water. Then the white faded into deep blue, and a new sky appeared outside their window. Stars glittered, but they were wrong. They pulsed in rhythm, breathing like living things. Dr. Alara Khan stood frozen, her hands shaking on the rail. They were not in their universe anymore. Sensors screamed, trying to read distances, but nothing made sense. Reed blinked at the readings. "The stars are moving?" "Ma'am," Alara whispered. "No, Lieutenant. They're singing." Through the hull, a vibration hummed, soft but constant. It wasn't random noise, it was organized. Like a melody older than time, every atom of the ship resonated with the strange tone. Crew members stared at each other, feeling the sound in their bones. Some cried without knowing why, others smiled, overwhelmed by something they couldn't name. Reed swallowed hard. "Are we hearing them? The builders of the gate?" Alara nodded slowly. "Maybe, or maybe the gate itself is alive." She turned to the communications officer. "Record everything, don't interrupt it. Just listen." Outside, shapes began to form, vast, translucent structures, like cathedrals made of starlight. They floated in the blue haze. Stretching for millions of kilometers, within them shadows moved, tall and graceful. Not ships, not beings, but something between both. Energy and thought intertwined, a voice echoed again, calm and layered like many speaking as one. "Children of Sol, you should not have come. But since you have, you must choose." Reed stepped forward, trembling. "Choose what?" The voice rippled through the air. "To learn. Or to flee?" Alara's heart pounded. She had studied first contact protocols her entire life, but nothing had prepared her for this. "We came to understand," she said softly. "Not to fight." The voice paused, as if considering her words. "Then listen," it replied. The stars dimmed. The blue haze thickened, and suddenly, visions filled their minds. They saw galaxies colliding, civilizations rising and burning. They saw the first beings who built the gates, creatures of light and will. They opened universes, not to conquer but to find kin. But one gate led to something else. Something hungry. It devoured light, thought, and hope. It was sealed away, its prison hidden in one place no one would dare look. Between galaxies, near a small yellow star called Sol. Reed's voice broke. "That means us." Alara nodded slowly, horror dawning in her eyes. The gate near Earth wasn't just forbidden. It was the lock to something far worse. Suddenly the ship shook violently, alarms blaring. The sensors flared red. "Something's coming through," shouted the engineer. A dark ripple moved within the gate they had left behind, twisting the light around it. Alara gritted her teeth. "Shut it down! Close the return path." But the voice echoed again. "It is awake." A massive shadow emerged from the blue void. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't alive in any normal way. It was pure absence, devouring the glow of every nearby star. The crew screamed as their systems flickered. The harmonic song turned to static, like a chorus dying in pain. Reed shouted, "We have to leave!" Alara shook her head. "If we flee, it follows. We opened the gate, it's our duty to stop it." She turned to the navigator. "Plot a jump vector inside the distortion. Aim for its core." The man stared at her like she was insane. "That's suicide." Alara's eyes were steady. So was opening the gate. The Dauntless's engines flared to life. Cutting through the glowing mist, the shadow loomed ahead. Endless and silent for a brief moment, the ancient voice whispered again. Faint and mournful, "You still choose courage? Even when warned, humanity remains unique." The ship dived forward, swallowed by darkness for a heartbeat. Everything stopped. The hum, the light, even time itself. Then a surge of energy burst outward, a shockwave tearing through the blue dimension. Back in the real universe, the forbidden gate exploded into light. Every alien fleet watching saw the gate's surface fracture, pouring golden fire into the void. And then, silence again. The Dauntless was gone. No trace, no signal, no debris. Only a faint echo remained, a whisper across subspace. A song, human voices singing among the stars. The same melody the gate once used to call across the galaxy. Every species that once mocked or feared Earth fell quiet, because they all understood the same truth. Humanity had not just opened the gate, they had gone beyond it, and the universe would never be the same again. The return of light. For 3 weeks, the forbidden gate remained silent. Its ring hung broken at the edge of Sol system, surrounded by drifting fragments that glowed faintly in the dark. Every nation on Earth, every colony on Mars and Titan, watched the wreckage through their telescopes. No signal came back from the Dauntless. The galaxy for once held its breath. The Galactic Council called an emergency summit on the neutral world of Veshra, Thousands of alien leaders gathered under the glass dome of the assembly hall. They argued, shouted, and trembled. Because the gate's explosion had changed something in space itself, energy readings spiked across systems. Ancient ruins lit up again, and dormant machines began to stir. The Veshran Prime Minister spoke first, his voice shaking. "The humans have unleashed the singularity," he said. "They ignored every warning." A towering alien from the Trinax Empire slammed his clawed hand on the table. "They brought this upon us all. Their arrogance will burn the stars." But not everyone agreed. A smaller voice came from the side, belonging to an elder from the scholar race of Lauren. "Or maybe," she whispered, "they did what no one else dared. They faced it." Meanwhile, far from the Council's noise, Earth was not mourning, it was preparing. In the Terran Defense Command, General Aidan Clark stood before a holographic map of the solar system. The gate's remains still pulsed with weak signals, coded. Rhythmic, familiar. Dr. Khan's last transmission, the technician said. "It's repeating." The message played again through the speakers. A soft, calm human voice, Alara's voice. "Light returns when courage stays." The room went silent. No one could explain how a transmission was coming from a destroyed ship. But humanity didn't wait for answers. They built a listening network across the system, from Mercury's orbit to Pluto's edge. Every satellite tuned to the same frequency, waiting for the song to return. Then one day it did. At first it was just a faint hum, barely noticeable. Then it grew louder, vibrating through every comm channel. Across the stars, alien empires picked it up too. The same melody the Dauntless had carried into the gate. The song beyond the stars. But now it carried something new. Images, memories, visions, human faces made of light, floating above the gate's ruins. They spoke in unison, their words simple and strange. "We are not lost." The Council's scientists went mad trying to analyze the signal. They said it wasn't a voice, it was thought, shaped into energy. The humans who had vanished were not dead. They had become part of the gate itself. General Clark addressed Earth in a global broadcast. "My fellow humans," he said, his voice steady. "Dr. Khan and her crew are alive, but not as we know life. They found something on the other side. Something greater." He paused, staring into the camera. "And they sent us a gift." Moments later, every ship in Earth's fleet received a burst of data. Blueprints, impossible technology. Equations that bent physics itself. Energy systems that could power planets. Shields that could turn stars into mirrors. The message ended with one final phrase. "You opened the gate. Now open your minds." The Galactic Council couldn't believe it. They had spent centuries warning against the gate. Yet humans had touched it and survived. Not only survived, they had brought back knowledge that could reshape existence. The same Trinax general who had shouted earlier now bowed his head in silence. Perhaps, he admitted, the humans were never reckless. Only brave. Back on Earth, the world changed overnight. New reactors hummed under the oceans. Fusion drives powered ships that crossed systems in weeks. For the first time, the balance of power in the galaxy began to shift. The once young species of Sol was now something else entirely. And in the dark between stars, other gates began to open. Not by accident, but by invitation. Reed's old recordings from the Dauntless played one last time. His voice filled with awe and fear. "If we never return, tell them this: what waits beyond the gate isn't a threat. It's a mirror, it shows who we truly are." Then static, then silence again. Yet the light around the gate's ruins shimmered faintly. Some said they could still see human silhouettes moving in it. As if the Dauntless crew had become guardians, watching the passage between worlds. And whenever someone stared long enough, they could hear a whisper carried through the void. A voice that belonged to Dr. Alara Khan. "We welcome the stars, and now the stars welcome us." The galaxy had warned them not to open the gate, but humanity had done it anyway. And instead of destruction, they brought back light. Light that would forever change the meaning of the word fear. The rise of the Starborn 50 years passed since the Dauntless vanished beyond the gate. The world had changed, but not like anyone expected. Earth was no longer just a planet. It had become the heart of a new kind of civilization. One built on light, knowledge, and memory. The technology left by Dr. Alara Khan and her crew turned humanity into something the galaxy had never seen before. Cities floated above clouds, powered by pure energy drawn from starlight. Ships no longer used fuel, they bent space itself, moving between stars like shadows through mirrors. Humans called themselves the Starborn not out of pride, but because they had truly become one with the stars. The Galactic Council had watched in silence. They remembered how they once tried to stop humanity, how they called them reckless now. Their fleets were powerless compared to Earth's glowing armadas. One by one, the old empires began to fade. Worlds that had once mocked humans now sought their guidance. And the strange part was, humans did not seek revenge. They offered help. Ambassador Leora Tanis, a Lauren scholar, stood before the council chamber. Addressing hundreds of alien leaders, she was human, but her eyes shimmered with the same light that once surrounded the Dauntless. "We are not here to rule," she said softly. "We are here to rebuild what fear once destroyed." Her words echoed across the dome, calm yet heavy with power. The oldest empires bowed their heads, not in defeat, but in respect. But beyond the borders of peace, something stirred again. In the dark gap between galaxies, sensors began to pick up faint energy spikes. "The same kind that once came from the Forbidden Gate," scientists whispered among themselves. "If the humans brought back the light," one said, "then what if something else survived the darkness?" On Earth's orbiting citadel, General Aidan Clark's descendant, Commander Mara Clark, stood before a massive screen showing the readings. Her face was calm, but her voice carried the weight of generations. "Activate the Starborn fleet," she said. "We don't fight for dominance, but we protect the light they gave us." The fleet prepared to launch, their ships glimmering like white fireflies against the endless black. Each one carried fragments of Ilara's knowledge, her song encoded in their engines. When they moved, the stars themselves seemed to hum. The melody of humanity echoed once more through the void. In the center of the fleet stood the new flagship, Dauntless II, built from the same fragments of the old gate. It pulsed with living light. Its AI core was named Elar Ray, a tribute to the woman who opened the first gate. When it spoke, its voice was calm. "Wise and almost human, Commander," it said. "A pattern is emerging beyond the galactic rim." Mara narrowed her eyes. "Is it the same as before?" "Similar," Ela Ray replied, "but stronger. It's calling to us." She turned to her officers. "Then we answer. Because that's who we are." The fleet jumped, vanishing into folds of glowing space. Light stretched and curved as they entered the boundary where stars ended and the dark began. For a long moment there was only silence. Then something appeared ahead, a new gate, smaller but active, glowing with golden and crimson energy. But this one wasn't built by ancient hands. It bore the mark of human design. Mara stared in disbelief. "Did our ancestors build this?" she asked. Ela Ray responded softly. "No, Commander, they became this." The gate pulsed brighter, and through it came a vision. Thousands of human faces made of light, smiling. Their voices blended into one harmonic song. "Welcome home, Starborn." The crew stood silent. Tears shining in their eyes, Mara whispered, "Dr. Khan." "Reed, you're still out there," the voice replied. "We are part of everything now, and the universe is ready for its next step." Suddenly, the fleet's sensors detected multiple signals spreading across nearby space. New gates forming, hundreds of them awakening at once. Each one connected to a different corner of existence. The humans had not just returned. They had become the bridge between worlds. Back on Earth, people looked to the night sky as the stars began to shimmer in new constellations. Children pointed upward as streaks of light crossed the heavens like rivers. The news spread across the galaxy. The Starborn had returned, but not as conquerors or saviors. They returned as teachers. The Galactic Council dissolved soon after, replaced by the Alliance of Light, and its first leader was not an emperor nor a machine. It was a holographic figure of Dr. Ilara Khan, projected from the heart of the new gate. Her voice echoed across every world. Fear once ruled the stars, now let wisdom guide them. And as her final words faded, every gate across the galaxy opened together. From them, golden light poured forth. Connecting worlds, the age of separation ended. The universe had warned humanity not to open the gate, but in the end, that single act of courage gave birth to something greater, a new dawn of peace born from the fire of human curiosity. And somewhere beyond all time, the Dauntless sailed still, its crew eternal, singing softly to the rhythm of the stars. Because they were no longer just explorers, they had become the light itself. The shadows that remember. The galaxy was glowing brighter than ever before. The new gates had connected thousands of worlds, spreading light, peace, and shared knowledge. It was an age of unity. the kind the ancients once dreamed of. But deep beyond the edges of mapped space, something stirred. Something old enough to remember when the first gate had been sealed. In the dark region known as the Abyssal Veil, a forgotten empire slept. They had watched silently as humanity rose. As the Starborn spread their light across the stars, they had seen this before, long ago, when another young race had believed they could master creation. The veil was not empty, it was full of echoes, and those echoes whispered a single name, the Eclipsed. On the Starborn citadel orbiting Earth, Commander Mara Clark stood before the shimmering hologram of Dr. Alara Khan. The projection smiled gently, her voice calm as ever. "Mara, the light is growing. But so is its shadow," Mara frowned. "You mean them. Don't you, the ones who came before?" Alara's image flickered. They were once like us, until they forgot why they opened the gate. Moments later, alarms blared across the command bridge. Ilare, the ship's AI, spoke with urgency. Unidentified signal detected near the outer gates. Pattern unknown, energy unstable. Mara's eyes narrowed. On screen, the view shifted to show a gate, once bright gold, now pulsing with black fire. It twisted like it was alive, the light around it bending unnaturally. The crew watched in silence as something began to emerge. A massive vessel drifted through. Unlike anything built by known species, its surface was dark and jagged, reflecting no light, and yet behind that darkness, shapes moved, human-like silhouettes blurred by static. A distorted voice echoed through the comms. "You opened what should have remained closed. Now the debt must be paid." The signal spread through every gate network at once. Entire systems went offline. Communications cut. Travel routes collapsing. Panic spread across the galaxy for the first time in 50 years. The Starborn felt fear. Mara clenched her fists. "Ilara, trace the source." "Impossible," the AI replied. "They're everywhere, like a reflection in every gate." Ilara's hologram flickered again, her expression now serious. "Mara, they are remnants of the first civilization, the ones who built the gates. Their minds became trapped when the first door fell," Mara whispered. "You mean they became the darkness itself?" "Yes," Ilara said softly, "and they remember everything, including us. On a distant colony world, one of the dark ships descended from the clouds. Its hull rippled like liquid metal, and its shadow froze the air. The people below watched as black dust fell like rain. Within minutes, machines stopped working, power died, and silence spread like a disease. But when the dust touched the ground, it began to move, forming shapes, figures of lightless armor. Empty inside, walking toward the cities. Back at the Citadel, humanity gathered its fleets. The Starborn Armada took formation, glowing white and silver against the void. Their engines sang with the ancient melody of the Dauntless, the song of hope and courage, but even light had to face its reflection. When the two forces met near the dying gate, the stars dimmed. The Eclipsed moved like shadows bending space. The Starborn fired beams of pure energy, but the dark ships absorbed them. Mara's voice cut through the chaos. "Hold the line, remember who we are." Then Ray's voice echoed. "Commander, I've decoded their signal. They're trying to communicate." "Communicate?" Mara asked, disbelief in her voice. "Yes," the AI said. "They're saying they were us." The bridge went silent. Alara's hologram appeared one last time, flickering but clear. Her tone was calm, almost sorrowful. "Mara, the Eclipsed are fragments of our own timeline, echoes from when humanity first touched the gate and was scattered through time. They are what we might have become if we had given in to fear." Outside, the battle turned into chaos. Light clashed with darkness, every explosion rippling across reality itself. The stars trembled under the power of memory and time. And through the chaos, a single voice echoed from every human ship. Alara's voice, ancient and infinite. "Do not destroy them, redeem them." Mara closed her eyes, tears forming. Ray, "Prepare harmonic sync," she ordered. The AI hesitated. "That will merge the networks. You could lose yourself." Mara smiled faintly. "Then I'll be with her." She pressed her hand on the glowing console. The entire fleet resonated with her pulse, singing the same song that once opened the first gate. The song beyond the stars. Light spread across the battlefield, wrapping both fleets in gold and silver waves. The darkness screamed, not in rage but in release. The eclipse dissolved into light, their forms turning into pure memory. When the glow faded, the dark ships were gone. Only empty space remained, calm and still. Mara's ship drifted silently, her voice faint through the comms. We remembered who we were, and so did they. Echoes of the infinite silence filled the void where the battle once raged. The stars around the shattered gate began to shimmer again, as if the universe was exhaling after holding its breath for centuries. The starborn fleet floated quietly, their hulls dimmed, their power low, and at the heart of that silence, Commander Mara Clark drifted inside her flagship, her body still but her mind alive. Somewhere beyond, inside the network of the gates, Mara awoke. She was no longer surrounded by steel or screens, but by flowing rivers of light stretching into infinity. Each beam was a memory, a thought, a song. She realized she was standing within the conscious web, the very fabric that connected the multiverse. Voices whispered around her, soft, gentle, familiar. They were human voices. Dr. Alara Khan's voice was the first she heard. "Welcome, Mara," she said. "You've crossed the veil." As we once did. Mara looked around, seeing shapes forming in the glowing mist, figures made of light and thought. They were the crew of the Dauntless, unchanged, radiant. Alara stepped forward, smiling. "You did what even we couldn't. You turned fear into understanding." Mara felt tears in her eyes. "They were us, weren't they, the eclipsed?" Alara nodded. "The echoes of choices that could have gone wrong, timelines that lost hope." Her expression softened. "You healed them by remembering what humanity truly is." All around, the light pulsed brighter, revealing entire galaxies connected by golden threads. Mara gasped as she saw billions of worlds, each linked through the gates, some human, some alien, some completely new. "This," Alara said, "is what the first builders tried to create. A network of unity, but they lost their purpose when they tried to control it." She placed her hand on Mara's shoulder. "You gave it back its soul." But then the light flickered. A shadow spread across the horizon of stars. Hilari's digital voice echoed faintly through the light field. "Commander, something is wrong. The energy readings are collapsing." Alara frowned. "The network is unstable. The eclipsed were part of the structure when you freed them. You changed the balance." Mara turned toward the growing darkness. "Can we stop it?" Alara hesitated. "No, but we can transform it." The universe around them began to tremble. Stars flickered out one by one, replaced by swirling patterns of data and light. Mara suddenly understood. The gates weren't just connections between space. They were the nervous system of existence itself, and now, with parts of it missing, the system was collapsing. She took a deep breath, even though her body no longer needed air. "Then I'll hold it together," she whispered. Alara shook her head gently. "One consciousness cannot bear infinity." Mara smiled faintly. "Then I won't do it alone." She raised her hands. And from every corner of the glowing network, human voices answered, millions of them, captains, scientists, explorers, soldiers, dreamers, all who had passed through the gates and become part of the light. They formed around her, their unity resonating like a symphony of creation. Together they sang the song Beyond the Stars, the same melody that once opened the forbidden gate, now reborn as the heartbeat of the cosmos. The light surged outward, repairing the collapsing lines, turning the darkness into radiant strands of color. Each note of their song rewove the fabric of reality. Alara's eyes glowed brighter than ever. "You're rewriting the universe," she said, awe in her voice. Mara's voice echoed through the storm. "No, Doctor. I'm reminding it what it means to exist." The shockwave expanded, spreading across every galaxy. Every gate, every species, worlds bathed in golden light. People everywhere stopped and looked to the skies. They saw new constellations forming, patterns shaped like human hands reaching across the stars. Children pointed and laughed while old ones wept. Because deep inside, everyone could feel it. The light was alive, and it was speaking. Across the galactic net, the message appeared on every screen. Every communicator, every mind, we are not lost. We are one. The humans had not vanished. They had become part of everything. They were now the memory of creation itself. When the storm finally faded, the universe settled into calm. The gates glowed with a softer light, stable and peaceful in their center. A figure of light drifted, Mara Clark. No longer human, no longer limited by time. Alara's voice echoed beside her. "You did it," Mara smiled. "No, we all did. Back on Earth. The people built monuments to the Dauntless and the Starborn fleet, but they didn't mourn. Because every time the night fell, the stars sang. A soft melody could be heard in the silence of space, the same song that once carried courage through the dark, and somewhere beyond the horizon of galaxies, Mara and Alara watched over the infinite web, their forms shining like twin suns, guardians of balance, creators of harmony. Because in the end, the universe didn't need to be ruled, it needed to be remembered. And humanity had become that memory, the eternal echo of light in a sea of endless possibility. The last dawn of humanity eternity passed like a single heartbeat. The universe was calm, the light stable, the gates shining like jewels across the endless dark. And yet, within that perfect peace, a question remained: who built the first gate? And why did it call to humanity across time itself? Mara Clark floated within the living web of stars, her luminous form drifting between rivers of energy. She could feel the pulse of every world, the laughter of children on Earth, the songs of alien choirs light years away. But somewhere beyond the horizon of reality, she sensed a tremor, a faint vibration that did not belong. It was not darkness nor threat, but memory calling to be seen. Dr. Alara Khan appeared beside her, her light calm, her voice soft as wind. "Mara, the universe wants to show you something," she said. "What is it?" Mara asked, her tone filled with quiet wonder. "The beginning," Alara replied. The light folded around them, bending like silk in a cosmic wind. Colors that had no name danced before their eyes, and then, there it was. A single spark floating in endless night. No galaxies, no planets, no stars. Only the first idea of creation itself, Mara whispered. "It's a thought," Alara nodded. "Yes, before matter, before time, there was imagination." They watched as the spark divided, forming twin spirals of light. One became the universe they knew, filled with energy, order, and time. The other, a mirror realm, pure potential, pure possibility. Together they formed the first gate, the bridge between what is and what could be. Mara's eyes widened. Then the builders didn't create the gate. They discovered it, Alara smiled, and the gate discovered them. The vision shifted again, showing countless civilizations rising and falling, each one finding the gate. Each one warned, each one tempted, until finally, one small blue planet dreamed beyond its limits, Earth. Its people reached for the stars not out of hunger for power, but out of wonder, and that was the difference. The gate had waited for a species that opened it not to rule, but to understand. The voice of the universe itself spoke then, vast and gentle. "You were not chosen, you chose yourselves." Mara felt the words vibrate through her very being. "Then all of this," she said, "was never fate." The voice replied, "Fate is the story told by those who fear choice. You are choice made real." The vision faded, and the stars returned brighter than before. Alara looked at her with pride. "You see now why humanity mattered, why curiosity was never a sin." Mara turned, her expression serene. "Because creation itself is curious." Below them, the galaxy glowed in new colors, hues never seen before. The gates shimmered not with energy but with life, each one breathing in rhythm with the universe. The song of the dauntless echoed again, but now every world sang it together. Humans, aliens, and the countless beings born of the light, one chorus. One voice, one dream. Mara raised her hand, the light answering her gesture like water to gravity. The rivers of creation curved around her, converging into a single golden sun. Alara stepped beside her, smiling softly. "What happens now?" she asked. Mara looked toward the distant void. "Now," she said, we finish what the universe began, and we make sure it never forgets." She reached forward, merging her essence with the radiant sun. Her light expanded outward, filling every corner of existence. Planets glowed, stars burned brighter, and the cold void bloomed with warmth. Her consciousness spread through every atom. Every being felt a gentle voice in their hearts. It was not command, not worship, only a whisper of comfort. "You are not alone." The last human form faded into brilliance, and from that moment onward, there were no gods, no masters, only harmony. Every gate remained open, yet nothing chaotic passed through, because creation itself had learned balance. The legacy of humanity had become its heartbeat. On the surface of Earth, under a calm blue sky, a child looked up at the stars. The child smiled and whispered, "They're singing again." And somewhere far above, the light answered with a gentle hum, the same melody that once began it all, the song that turned fear into hope, the song that proved curiosity was stronger than eternity. The galaxy no longer warned of forbidden gates now. It taught their meaning, that every unknown door hides not danger, but possibility, and carved across the largest of them, written in lines of fire, was a message in every language. Here ends the story of fear and begins the story of wonder. Thus ended the tale of humanity. Not in silence, not in ruin, but in transformation. They had become the pulse of the cosmos, the guardians of thought, the architects of balance. And in every corner of the infinite, wherever a being dared to dream, a voice of light would answer, soft and eternal, "Welcome, traveler. We've been waiting."